We're live. It's Saturday. It's 9 p.m. in Old Blighty. And that can only mean one thing. It's another version of the War Room. I hope you're all doing well. Let me just get my comments up to make sure we can see everybody. Crikey, we've got 30-odd people in the chat already. Hope you're all doing fine. As you can see, we've got somebody new. And this chap's name is Grzegorz Kuryłowicz. And he will be telling us his name and how we should pronounce it later on. Polish designer for Vuca Simulations with his brand new game, In Fours, which is the Polish invasion of September 39. So we'll be chatting to Greg in a moment. How are you doing, sir? Greg, nice of you to be with us. How are you?
I'm great, and it's really nice to see you, and I'm very flattered that I can join your War Room.
Yeah, well, we received the money, so it's okay, so that's fine. But no, it's great. No, it's great to have you, Greg. It really is, because we love and everybody loves Vuca Simulations. Some great games, some great designers, and you're the next one that's to be on the show. But before we have a chat with you, we're going to say hello, to everybody in the chat. But even before that, Jester, how the heck are you, sir?
I am doing great. I'm so excited today to talk to Greg. It's always great to talk with somebody that's got a game design, try to pick their mind, the process they use to create the game and the design decisions they have to go through and the pain and suffering they have to go through just to make a game. I love talking to him, so it'll be great to hear his experience. And hopefully it went well. I know Patrick over at Vuca is a real slave driver, so we'll see.
Yeah, he is. They call him the slave master over there, I think. Yeah. But no, he's not. He's lovely. He's lovely. So, and Nate, how are you?
Better than I deserve.
Okay.
All right, I'll leave that.
Better than you deserve. All right.
Yeah, okay. Well, what have you been up to, you rascal?
No, life has been very good. I have one more week until I pick up my PhD again and start having to read and write a lot. So that will be. I'm hoping to get a lot of gaming into the next week. So I've been still playing Downfall and enjoying it. It's a very good game. Really like it. So, but. Yeah, life has been pretty good. So I'm looking forward to talking with Greg, because I studied the World War II when I was in grad school, did some grad research on World War II. So very excited to talk to him about his game, because there's not many games on the Polish campaign. And so particularly in 1939, there's some on 1944 I've seen, but not a lot on 39.
I think Revolution Games does one as well.
Yeah, there's one there. That's the biggest one that I know of. Yeah.
Well, one of the biggest highlights should be the No Retreat by Karl Paradis, which I think was the closest one that catched the real nature of this campaign, because this topic is really awful to portray. This is not a simple. It cannot be the simple military.
Well, we'll talk about why that is and what's the things and how you've overcome that. And you've got certain things like morale in it and all that sort of.
But Ruff, how are you doing?
Not too bad, as we say over here. Not too bad at all. It's been a bit of a tumultuous week for us over in England for one reason or another. But the dust is settling, and I think everything's going to be tickety.
Yeah, you guys had some riots and stuff.
Oh, crikey, it's all happening. It's still happening. But and I won't go into the reasons.
I thought for sure I was going to see your face on the TV screen.
Well, I think it's because they ran out of Tide of Iron in the stores, right?
Yeah, it could be. But they all tend to be bald anyway. But the people on the TV screens. But I've been busy because Sunday we played the last session of Wolfpack, which was great fun. And then Tuesday, me, Tony, and Mike Botticelli, the designer of Wolfpack, played our second Hexplore It, a non-war game. I don't know if you played that, Greg. It's fantastic. It's fun. It's fun.
Agreed.
And then Friday, we finished off our Nations at War, me and Tony. The Stalin's Triumph.
Did you win?
No, it was a sort of. I didn't take over enough pieces of the town to win. So, but it was more fun. More fun just laughing and joking. So it was great fun playing it.
And which game of the system was that?
That's Stalin's Triumph, and the scenario was called
Stalin's Triumph. All right. Speaking of which, I have Stalin's Triumph upgrade kit.
Have you got the original game then? The first edition?
I do have the original game. I do not need the upgrade kit because I already have the upgrade when I bought it. If you have an old version of Stalin's Triumph and you need the upgrade kit, I will give it to you absolutely free if you pay for shipping. So
And
if
that's
you are
the one
looking
that's
to
got
get your Stalin's Triumph upgraded for free,
It's got
with
the
all the new
upgraded.
cards.
It's got the upgraded scenario book. It's got the cards in it, so you can use the
It's got
cards.
the cards, it's got the updated scenarios, it's got the updated counters. It's like a $25. I'm willing to give it to you for free because I'm trying to clear out some stuff. So if you own Stalin's Triumph, an old version, contact me. I will send this to you for free in honor of Ruff and Tony playing Stalin's Triumph.
Yeah, thank you. That's very kind of you. Right, let's say hello to all the peeps because we've got 40-odd people in the chat already. So look who's first.
Ah, Stuka.
Stuka Joe.
Spitfire. I mean, Spooka.
Spitfire. So yeah, I tell you what, I'm just finishing off the editing of the next part of Skies Above Britain, and Stuka Joe, say no more, but you know, oh yeah, glad he's on my team. Yes, we will. Stop it. Paul, Debbie, that's your hurricane. What a soppy name for a hurricane.
Oh yeah.
We had 20 inches of rain from that.
Yeah. Debbie is finally blown away. It's a clear, cool, and dry day here, as good as it gets. I suppose it does clear the atmosphere a bit.
I think we got just or something like 7 or 8 inches.
Yeah.
We had like flash flood warnings and all that.
We don't need hurricanes to get rain in England, for goodness sake.
That's all you get.
That's all we get. We get sunny day. It's a celebration.
Nobody wants to invade over there. It's too depressing.
No, I know. This is good. But when it is sunny, we have a national holiday. That's just, we don't get it. But Kuwait's got the right idea. Passing the time drinking red wine while waiting for private Polish chit-chat. Cheers, Kuwait. Same here. Stephen, hello, folks. Marty H, good morning, everyone. And Viper Dave is here. Hi, howdy all.
Viper
Dave.
What's the weather like for you today there, Gregory? It looks like some sun on your face there.
Sun on my face. No,
it's an hour later than us here. It's 10 o'clock in the evening there.
Yeah, it's 10. It's completely dark. And as I said before, this day is really a disaster for me. So this is artificial sun.
Yes, that's because I did have a word, as I said, with the Polish authorities to make sure you were delayed so you couldn't go anywhere and you'd be sitting in your room ready for the broadcast. And we are grateful to the Polish authorities for that. So there we are. Thank you.
If I wasn't late, I wouldn't have tied of iron behind my back.
Yeah.
You mentioned. Anyway, let me get through everybody.
No.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Well, what you got to understand is Ruff can't multitask. He's only got one speed, and it's very slow.
I get told off because I put them up too quick, and I don't see people listen to this rather than watch. They might be in their car, they might be doing stuff, so they listen. So I have to be all things to all peeps.
Stuck on the train that you stopped in Poland?
Yes. I just hope I didn't put too many people's noses out of joint by stopping the whole public transport network there in Poland. But Mike says, good afternoon. Edward Lasso, hi everyone. Groucho Marx, good to see you.
But Jester, you make a point there. I mean, he's
Charles,
a teacher.
afternoon.
He's supposed to be able to multitask, but...
No, I don't multitask and do everything badly. I do one thing and do it quite well. Not great.
I will
but
say
quite well.
this: of all the guests that we've had recently on our show,
Gareth,
look at the heck Gregory's shells. Those are professionally stacked shells there. Well
He's been-
done, sir. Sometimes we get these guests and their stuff is just scattered everywhere.
yeah,
So
he's
thank
been
you for
right
actually
here.
taking care of your stuff.
I feel
been-
a little left out because I'm the only one with books behind me.
Right.
All three of you have games
Yeah.
behind you.
I have a bookshelf, but I don't want
Rock and load.
He lost his books shells to the games, right?
Yes, that's what I did. I had all World War II books up here, but not anymore. Philly, hiya, Paul. William's in what's the King? What's that?
East North Carolina.
Right. Thomas, Metro Detroit. Eves is in. A fellow VUCA
Eves.
designer.
Oh, hi.
Oh,
Lovely chap. Met him at PunchCon. Hope you're well. Eve, Demi. We've got tons of people in Ireland. They're all from all over the world. Christophe from Belgium. E4 Airman, good to see you all.
We are worldwide. We have everywhere
are
from
worldwide.
Australia, New Zealand, England, France,
Belgium.
Poland, Belgium,
Everywhere.
Canada.
Extra squeaky. Paul, I think send hello to Paul. Yeah, well, we'll find out about that. It's because they were expecting some help from a certain country or certain countries, and
countries. Yes, there we go.
Well, anyway,
Yes,
Grognard,
Don't forget that plural there.
but it's nothing to do with me. All right.
if they declare war, we're coming in there. We're going to stop this thing.
Well,
we're going to be.
that was the message, and that's what
We're
they
going
were.
to
We'll talk
interfere.
about-
We're
we'll
going
talk about that.
They'll be sorry if they
Yeah.
start this war.
Don't give it away too much. Charles, hiya, Charles, and Alan. Hey, right, that's everybody. I think, we've got some more people. No, we've got some more people that keep turning up. We've got 50 people in the chat now. Brilliant. Oxfordshire, right. Yeah, Poland suffered a lot in World War II, Christoph. They certainly did, as did most of bloody Europe. But anyway, let's talk about that later. So how do you want to work this, chaps? Shall we...
Well, first, I think it might be good to ask Greg, how long have you been
Because
playing?
I'm sure
war
you've
games?
got these
What sort of-
questions, because I sent you the links for the video, and I saw you've got these questions burning away in you here.
You like how he just cut me off there, Jester?
Oh.
Sorry,
It's like it's his show. It's like
learn
it's his show.
learn from the master.
Oh, that's true. It is his show, so he
It's
can
my
do
show
it.
this week. It is right. Off you go. I learn from the master.
Cut
Right.
me off when I start talking because I might be unstoppable when I start.
Well, I'm curious.
Oh no, not another guy like that. Oh.
Two extroverts.
Off you go.
So actually, I'm curious. Is kind of just an intro to before talking about your game is sort of how long have you been playing war games? What got you into playing, and what types of war games are you really interested in? Do you tend to like playing a lot?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot there. So, but
Well, to wrap it up, I've started in 90s, I think, when actually Western war games were not really a thing in Poland. We had some Polish publishers like Dragon Games, and then it transformed in some way into Taktyka and Strategia. And there were some games that were designed in this time and published. And I think everyone who I know who played any kind of board games or war games were playing these games because those were simple hex and counter games that could have been bought in any store or bookstore. And those games were not that expensive as it turned out for a young man. How much can a game cost from like a GMT game? So this was how I started, and I was always playing board games of any kind. Then I had a little break, and I came back with GMT games. I think the first one, my big comeback was the Holland 44 from GMT games. So that was my comeback, and from there I just started to looking all over the place
on your shelf. Like, was that Stalingrad 42 that you have up there? And
yes. There is a bunch of Mark Simonich games, but soon I started to go a little, let's say, deeper, and I started digging MMP games, and I absolutely fell in love. And I have all but one, but I'm waiting for this one, Grand Tactical series. And then Battalion Combat Series, so BCS, GTS, OCS. OCS, I skipped most of the games of OCS because I just didn't have an opponent and time and space to play those. But I stick to BCS, and this is one of my most beloved system. And then many other games from many publishers.
Which BCS game do you like the best?
I think the second one, Baptism by Fire, Kasserine.
Okay.
Because it's really manageable to play in one longer evening, and it has absolutely outstanding system of victory points that both sides don't really know which is the real objective for the German player, and it makes this game always fresh and always interesting to play.
See, I've not yet played any BCS, so I keep hearing people say how great it is, and so I might get into that. I have an SCS game, the North Africa one, which I do like, but I've not
Africa
played...
too, probably.
Well, there's a relatively new one called North Africa.
The newer one. Okay.
Yeah.
Maps. Yeah.
It's basically DAC, the OCS DAC 2, but in SCS form.
This is the original one they brought out.
Yeah.
And there's the number 2.
Yeah. That's it. That's the number 2. Yep.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I was going to ask you, Greg, do you play face-to-face, online, or solo?
I play all of 3.
Right. Okay.
I play mostly solo because I like to immerse myself, and this is why, and this is actually why I enjoy the most games that are realistic at some points. For example, GTS has the time track, and it gives you opportunity to really tell a story, not only think about mechanics and how to win, how to make your best move, but to really immerse into story. And actually this is going to be quite important when we talk about the In Fours to Heaven, but let's leave it for now. But I play recently, for example, I've played with my friend Janek Traces of Hubris, and we tried to break this game, but not yet. We're going to break this game, but
I did moan at Patrick for about the Traces series that they're all 2 mappers, and I haven't got room for 2 mapper. And he said, "Don't worry, Ruff." He said, "The next one we're bringing out," he said, "is going to be 1 map." So I went, "Thank you very much." So that would be great. Looking forward to that one.
I think we've obviously jumped into the pool with the deep end. We haven't even really talked about what kind of game this is. There's a lot of people probably joining us going, what are they talking about? So what is this game we're talking about? What's the name of it? Is it operational, strategic, tactical level game? Kind of give us the overview of what this game is about.
You mean In Fours to Heaven game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's gonna come round to that. Just getting to know you, what games you like, and all that sort of thing. But he can't wait. So he's got his tea waiting.
He's too excited.
He's got his tea waiting. So I've got to then get in and control it. So yes, what we'll do is we'll talk about the game In Fours to Heaven. Tell us how it came about, what it's about, and all that, like what he said.
All right. Well, you probably now see and understand that my primary game focus are hex and counter games. So In Fours to Heaven is going to be hex and counter game. Not quite in a classical hex and counter game, but it is gonna feel a little classic. It's going to be a game about the whole campaign with loads of scenarios. It was initially supposed to be only the campaign game, because when I go back 6 or 7 years now, when I started to think about this game, it was never supposed to be published. I never intended to make it and to go out with it, because I just wanted to make a game about Poland 1939 that is going to fit me and go with the most absolutely crazy ideas that I can come up. Like I took some historical book or the monograph of some army and started experimenting with some ideas that might be not out of the box concerning the hex and counter game. And due to this, I think the project is going to be really original in many ways. But it is a hex and counter game. It is about.
Sorry, Greg. The pictures I got from the Facebook, it was point to point map. That's a different game, is it?
Different game, Ruff.
Point to point. I think it's a different game.
Yeah,
it was on your thing saying you're on the show tonight, and you put some picture. Unless I've got the wrong. Let me get it up again. Go on, carry on talking. It's probably me.
You sure he's the right?
I put a link in
no.
there.
I've got it here. Let me. I'll tell you what.
I'm looking on the BGG page right now.
I was just saying, Ruff, I got it shared if you just want to pop it up.
Hold on a second. Let me.
Oh, we got to wait. He can't multitask.
He's got the game right
No,
there.
no
I'm
more
pretty sure I
got
got
the
it.
game. Yeah.
No, I'm not having a go. I'm not having a
I
go.
get hexes.
I'm not having a go. I'm just saying, can you tell me what this is then?
That's
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it might be a little confusing.
Oh, I see what I've done. I should have gone to Specsavers. Yes. It's very faint hexes, isn't it? I can see that now.
Yes, exactly.
So ignore that. Rewind. Off you go.
It's using just the. It's using the just the corners of the hexes.
Yep.
The hex sides.
Yes.
Right. It's my eyes. I told you, these dodly old eyes. I can't see. Stop taking the Mickey.
So anyway,
actually, Patrick wanted this map to look as mappy as possible. And actually, when you look from some distance, you can see hexes and all. And when I presented this map and this game in one of the conventions, some people thought that this is not a war game map because there's no hexes. And oh yeah. And actually, we wanted to skip hex numbers, but it proved actually too controversial regarding setup, for example. So we got back to hex numbers, but those are really faint too, so they don't scream in your face.
I will tell you this: I love the map. The map is really good, really good.
I mean, look at that! Isn't that gorgeous? I can see them now. It's close up, so apologies. Apologies, but you can see, that it's a nice looking map. What else we got here? Let's see if I can flick through these while I've got you. Maybe you want to talk about. Now, the other thing is, it looks like it's blocks, but it isn't. This is a pre-production copy, wasn't it? So it's going to be counters rather than these blocks. Is that right?
Well, actually, this is this photo is from the special deluxe version that I'm preparing for this year Wargaming convention in Poland, and it's gonna have 2 by 2 meters map, but this is not how the game is going to look. It's going to be with.
I've just got a picture of that. Look at the size of that thing.
No, this is not the map that is going to be on the box. For the map, it's probably going to have similar size as the Nach Paris map.
Right.
Okay.
56 per 57 hexes. So if you take, I don't know yet exactly what sizes the maps are going to be. But 56, 57 hexes is going to be 2 standard-sized maps, something like Traces of Hubris, I think, if you want the perspective.
And it looks like it's on that lovely paper that not Paris, that sort of.
It's not paper; it's canvas material.
Is it canvas? I wasn't sure if it was
linen
canvas
finish,
proper
yeah.
or that stuff they use, in some of their other games, which is like a parchment. But that's going to be canvas, is it? Lovely.
Well, no, it's not going to be canvas. It's going to be paper like canvas. This one is on canvas, but probably the map is going to be on the material. I don't know actually what material exactly it is, but it's a little canvas-like, but it's still a paper.
Right.
Though not a mounted map board.
Not a mounted map, no.
No, I don't think so. Actually, we're still talking and thinking about the final version of components, because we have still some work to do. Although the game is ready, some technical issues are still to be resolved, but it's going to be in a matter of, I think.
Okay. So Nordic's asking, what scale is the game? Regiments, battalions, brigades, divisions,
yes,
usual sort of stuff.
So this is actually a very good reference photo, because this is part of the front. And these are all units that are going to be on the map, on the setup. So this game is very, very low counter density. And the scale here is division/regiment. /regiment with, let's say, underline, because mainly we're operating with divisions, and the divisions can detach regiments, but it's not going to be in normal fashion, like the division has 3 strength points and 1 regiment has 1 strength point. It's going to be a little different. This is going to be actually one of I think original ideas in this game, but we can talk about this a little later. So division/regiment, 1 hex is 10 kilometers. The scale on the map, this is not actually the whole Poland. From the time we had to cut the part of the map west of Poznań and part of the map east of Lvov, because the main focus of this game is Polish versus German operations. There are Soviets that are going to be portrayed a little differently than you might expect, because there is a Soviet invasion. But Soviet units are not going to be units. They are going to be cards. It's going to be a unit, but it's going to be a card. 1 card, when you place on the map, is going to stretch on 5 hexes and portray a group of units that is going to move. And it will not be able to be attacked by Polish player, because Poland had absolutely no force to attack Soviet units on this level. It's going to be kind of closing up map edge that closes the gate for Polish units to escape south on the last stage of the campaign.
Good. Christoph asks, when will this be available?
Yes, of course.
When?
Probably this year. This year we have some delays. We wanted to start. Patrick actually wanted to start sale around September this year, but I think it might be 2 or 3 months later. Around let's make October,
Christmas time.
I suppose, yes.
Christmas time, right? That'd be good. Koi thinks it looks amazing.
So, what is the range of? How many scenarios does this come with, and what's the range? Is there a shorter scenario where you can play just like the first couple of days of the invasion? Can you play the whole month? What are we talking about?
We're talking 18 scenarios.
Wow!
You're going to be yes, and all of them were play tested, some with a little less extent, some with the bigger extent.
That's good to hear.
The job here was easy enough for me later, because I'm working on this game for around 7 years now. Some of scenarios proved to work only with using the some of the mechanics. What I mean is, when I play the campaign and I see the progress of the campaign, I can with advance predict how this scenario is going to work, and in most cases it worked out very well. And you're going to be able to play almost every larger battle of the campaign, and we will have 4 scenarios in which you will have different starting dates: September 1st, September 6th, September 9th, and September 17th. Which is interesting because many people tend to forget that although it is said or stated that Poland was actually lost after 2 weeks of fight, one of the biggest battles and the most fierce battles took place around Lvov from 18 to 25th, 26th September.
Mm-hmm.
So it was in the end of the campaign. And it's, to put it into perspective, you can say that Germany lost in 1943, but there were campaigns and battles until the 1945. So in much lower scale, it was little like this in Poland, because the campaign.
Couple of questions, Greg, when you've got a moment here.
Mhm.
So Nordic's saying it's not like Simonich's 4X games, is it? But he wants to jump on board with it.
No. I don't.
And question I would like to ask as well, David asks, how does it solo? Because it does say 1 to 4 on the box, doesn't it?
How does it solo? I think very well. I wanted to include the solo mode, the dedicated solo mode, and it might be a thing in the future, but not for now, because I want to play test it well, and all of my recent playtests from the recent years had to focus on all of the scenarios and the game in the mode player versus player. And I think it will solo well because it tells a story using a little similar like in GTS. We're going to have a time track that will show us what time of the day is exactly, and it is a cheat pool. It is not a simple cheat pool that you only take a cheat and you activate what is on the map. It's going to be a little more advanced, but it is cheat pool. So every turn can be played a little differently when you play the same scenario many times. So if anyone likes to play on two-hand game, and likes cheat pool and thinks that cheat pool is a very good way to play solo, I think it's going to be good for him.
Paul asks, was it 3 months Warsaw held out?
No, they surrendered on the 27th of September.
Sorry, I keep blocking your head out, mate. It's just the questions. Somebody else has said, how do they handle aircraft? Stukas!
There are a lot of Stukas. There are a lot of Stukas. There are going to be counters with Stukas.
Right, lovely, because we all do that.
I'm curious
I
how.
got a question for you, Greg, if you don't mind. So when is Vuca doing any like pre-orders for this? If somebody wants to order this, can they order this now, or do we know when this is going to go up for sale?
Well, this is a
it's
question
not on the website yet.
Patrick, actually, because we don't have print files ready for now, and the delay that was not planned, of course, is caused by many other games that Vuca is now publishing, and also with this recent successes, because what Red Strike achieved recently is really great and amazing. What the designer of the Red Strike did, and the main developer has many other projects that are delaying this project, and we are still making some little changes, so it all wraps up for weeks or now months delays, but we never actually established any release date. So be fluid in this.
Don't worry, it's not on the web page yet, but as soon as it is,
So yeah, we can't order this yet. So
no, it's
it's
not on the
not
web page
available.
yet.
No, not
As
yet.
soon as
Not
it is,
yet.
we'll let you know in the war room. Don't you worry about that. And somebody says, Groucho, does Poland actually have a chance to win?
Yes, the answer is yes, and this is a matter of perspective. This game will portray a perspective of the staffs that were actually there in 1939, if you know what I mean. What I mean is, for example, Polish player will have opportunities, and sometimes will have to counterattack in many places. Will have the option to start a historical counteroffensive. Well, counteroffensive, not exactly historical, because this game gives a lot of space to make your own plans. But it's kind of perspective of stuff from 1939 and the perspective of OKH of 1939. And here we come to one of very interesting topics regarding the Poland 1939, because what if I tell you that Wehrmacht has not achieved their goals in 1939? Because the main goal of OKH was actually to destroy the whole Polish army, the Polish forces, in 2 weeks on the western bank of Vistula River. Did they do it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So this is, I mean, this is the perspective. When you think of historical plans and what was the perspective for OKH, like this is the way to lose the game. The historical goal of OKH was not achieved. I think we can talk about victory conditions a little later, because I want to. This is very important. Of course, this is very important part of this game, but it's kind of a spirit of this game. Is how the victory conditions are approached. Have you seen my presentation video in which I talk a little about that? This is not. It's not a spectacle. You have historical goals, but this is not a spectacle. And both players have opportunities to play out the game, the whole campaign, their way. And what I mean exactly by this, in terms of game mechanics and the game rules and victory conditions, let's leave this for now, and let's talk about victory conditions in a moment.
Well, I'm curious of how you. Well, let me back this up. So my understanding is you said this is a chit pull game. So are the chits that you're pulling activating certain divisions, or are they armies, or because I noticed at least on Board Game Geek, you had like certain track sheets that had like General von Kluge and like the Third Army, the what was it, the Fourth Army, the 10th Army, the 8th Army. So are those activating like armies, or can you just kind of describe how sort of the activation works?
So the first thing, maybe a little subversive, is that not all cheats will come out from the cup every turn. And if some cheats do not come from the cup, it will have repercussions and effects in the night phase, in which both sides might have opportunity to perform night marches or stuff like this.
Interesting.
And cheats activate certain, cheats. So we have certain levels of cheats, actually 3 of them. It's if you played Grand Tactical Series, you will immediately know what I talk about. There you have a division cheat, a formation cheat, direct command cheat. So it's kind of this division of cheats in here. But here we have first cheat that activates the whole front, all units. It's called the plan cheat. And if you think of this, this is kind of orders based, and those cheats are called plan because those are orders based on pre-war plans and war games and Polish defensive plan. So you activate the whole front, but you are not flexible. Every army have to pick a stance, movement or combat, and all of those units will be able to only move or only to attack. Then we have the second level. Hello, Ted Racer. But it's interestingly enough, the first version of this game, actually this is how this game emerged. I wanted to make kind of Dark Valley in Poland 1939.
I love Dark Valley.
It turned out it's not going to be Dark Valley 1939, so this is not a dark game anymore, at least for 6 years.
What do you reckon?
Sounds really interesting. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ref.
Just to say, what do you reckon? I'm just trying to get the questions in from the chat as well. If we had got involved with the French at the time we said we would, a big offensive, would the Russians have gotten involved? What do you reckon, Greg? And Nate?
Well, actually, it should be reversed because France and England did not intervene because of Russian intervention, because of Ribbentrop-Molotov pact. It was this way. So when the pact was signed, it was automatically the big issue for the Allies to help Poland. And the second problem was that how to transfer troops to Poland. The only option was to the port of Gdynia in the Pomeranian corridor, which was cut in 3 days, and there was absolutely no option to help Poland in a way to send troops to Poland or any kind of equipment. In the skies, the Luftwaffe had almost complete air superiority. There was absolutely no way to help Poland in any physical way. There was a Saarbrücken offensive, which lasted a few days and took some casualties, but ultimately it was stopped after a few days. And interestingly enough, the French command was informing Poland that the offensive is still ongoing, where it was over. So back to the cheats. So the first level is the plan cheat, which activates all units. The second, a little lower level, and you can think of this like the orders issued by the field commander of the army, is the army cheat. The army cheat in German cheats are Heeresgruppe cheats, Heeresgruppe Nord or Heeresgruppe South, where you can pick one or in certain circumstances 2 armies, but only those 2 armies. But it's more flexible because in this case, in this activation, every unit can move or fight. Well, infantry units can't ever attack after movement. This is the option only for mobile units. But every unit can pick the action which it wants to. And we have movement segment and then combat segment. And the lowest level is the motorized corps activation, which is available only for German players, for 4 German motorized corps. And this allows German player to move or combat with mobile units in any combination that the German player wants to. So he can attack with one unit, then make a breakthrough movement, and then attack again with another unit. And now we go to the mechanic that I think it was because I was talking about inspirations. I was talking about this on purpose to immediately. For you to immediately know what I'm talking about. So, for example, Move Combat, Ted Racer, GTS, levels of activations. Yep. But I think the idea that was not influenced by any other game, at least not what it was my idea. Just is that I have the track now here.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. So all of the cheats go on the track. So, and this is the time track. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep.
Those all activations have hours. So we start at 05, and then we go to 11 p.m. and then we go to the night phase. And when we pull the cheat from the cup, the cheat first goes to the current time, and then after the activation, it goes further. So, for example, if we have 5 o'clock and there's a German activation, the time will jump to 7 a.m. for another activation, but the cheat will go further. And now, what does it mean? So, going back to my design and thinking process, I never like mechanical issues with the game that are not really realistic, if you know what I mean. For example, if I have a cheat pool game that tries to be for example, realistic and immersive in some way, when you pull the cheat, you have your orders and you activate your units right now. I'm moving my units, I'm combating with my units,
Right.
and then we make a slash, and then another player, or not, or maybe the same player. I mean, the one cheat has no influence on other cheats. So I came out with the idea that when you have activation, and especially when you have a time track, when you issue some orders on 5 o'clock, those orders on the map are actually done on the map, all movements and combats, but the cheat will influence all other activations of the same units for some time. For example, I moved my unit on 5 o'clock, but its order is influenced by the order until the 11 o'clock.
Oh, this is fascinating.
In game mechanics, it's called conflicting orders, and we have HQs which have command range, and the conflicting orders value, so difference between actual time and the cheat that activated some units, is the value that lowers the command range of the HQ, which might happen that many units will be out of command at the moment of other cheat, and it creates negative DRMs to battle, where if you imagine if you issued order at 5 o'clock and you try to issue another order at 7 o'clock, those units will get lost. Lost in their combat. And now going back to
that's fascinating. That's interesting.
If I can finish, because this is tight with the levels of activations. So the bigger activation, so when you activate the whole front from the OKH orders called the plan, you have the greater conflicting orders because it takes more time to issue all of the orders than the army cheat, which activates only one army and influences only this army, and the conflicting orders value is lower than for the plan activation. And for the corps activation, where the commander is on the front line, like Guderian commanded from the front line, or Rommel later, those cheats create no conflicting orders. So you have a option to make really historical breakthroughs with mobile units, and mobile units from foot units are very different in many ways.
So is this what Ian's saying, Greg? He's got to sign all the chip pulls to time slots prior to resolving the day orders. Is that what you're talking about?
Sorry, again?
Can you see it on the screen here? Ian's question.
Oh, I now picture a game in my head where I assign cheat pulls to time slots prior to resolving the day's order. Oh yeah, I see. I think I understand. No, we are not making this in advance.
You're just pulling them.
We are pulling them.
You put them down to use later at times.
As you use the JIT, it's just going to affect things that happen later in the day.
Yes, exactly.
To kind of sum it up. But it's not taking like a slot up. It just influences things that happen later.
Yes.
My if I'm understanding correctly, so you're kind of simulating in that a commander gives an order to a group of men or tanks or whatever, but then new information about the front comes up to him and he needs to change orders, but he's already given an order. So that it affects the new order that's now going to come out.
How well it's executed, the new order. Yeah.
So it seems like it's an interesting way of incorporating that sort of fog of war and the intricacies of command from the high army level all the way to the actual commander on the field.
Yeah, he's the guy on the grass is only getting it down, and he doesn't know what's going on the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. So when the bigger picture changes, another order comes down quickly, but he's already trying to do this order, so it's going to affect his efficacy at doing a new thing. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, this sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I'm trying to cut the. I don't know if this is a saying in English. The squarish type of the gameplay, like my move, your move.
Yeah,
right.
It's very.
You can feel that the time is that many things are happening simultaneously in many parts of the front that are.
Well, is this somebody you know, Greg?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Rafał Ściegosz. Dzień dobry.
So I'm curious how does the game sort of incorporate the different personalities of the different does it like a Guderian or Rundstedt or any of the Polish commanders? Is there any sort of difference between them and how their armies was going to operate?
No, they were, but it would be 150 pages rulebook. So
right.
Believe me, so many ideas were scrapped in the process of designing this game to make it manageable, and because the rulebook is going to be 60 pages, but
that's nothing. That's nothing with us.
I know. Try Grand Operational Series.
Yeah,
right. But I will incorporate 5 learning scenarios learning process, and if everything goes well, the players will have the learning rule book, which is not like in Next War series that you have basic and advanced rules. You're going to have 2 rule books, one learning with the stuff that you will only need for the first scenarios, and actually this is the first scenario on the page. This is the 1-to-1 scale of this scenario, and
it's very Knock Paris looking.
Yes, Knock Paris.
Knock Paris. Yeah.
Excellent. And I will want to focus very much on the learning process of the game. So, for example, when you, as I imagine this, I hope it will look this way. When you open the box, you will have something like this.
Hope it's in English.
Oh my God.
So this is actually the call to arms. It looks like historical call to arms, but this is how to start guide. And it basically says, if you have just opened the box and know nothing about this game, let's start here. You can drop all components on the floor and just find components that say L1. It's not going to be a lot. All markers that you will need will be on the setup chart of the game. And you will start learning the game step by step on 5 very short scenarios, because the first scenario is actually 15 to 20 minutes.
I tell you what, it's amazing how designers are using this program learning again from days of yore, which is a fantastic, in my opinion anyway, fantastic way of learning a game, you know. And I've just hold on, let me just say, I popped the YouTube link in the chat for that intro video you've done, Greg. So Koi's obviously just watched it. So if you scroll up and see the link, you can do it when we finish. Go and watch the intro videos. Very good,
but
very professional.
I will say just the process through which you're guiding the player from opening the box to learning bit by bit until they get to the big campaign is absolutely excellent. It's amazing. Especially, it's great for getting people into a big hex encounter war game, because there's been a number of games where I've bought and I open the box and I'm overwhelmed at the amount of stuff and what I'm supposed to remember and how do I go about learning. And instead, you as the designer know your game so well of how to teach it. And I think that's really, really good. Really, really good.
Yeah.
And there's another issue. This is still Poland 1949. This is not a Belgian game or Normandy.
Right.
Well, to get anyone to the table to try the campaign, I'm aware that it has to be a hard work with the learning process to not scare people off. Like I suppose maybe it will be a thing that many people will say, okay, I don't want to learn this. This is Poland 39. What I can find here? Just from the scope from just when he sees the scope of the game. So this is to get people to the table and maybe try it.
I mean, but interesting enough, like a lot of people don't know that in the Poland 39 campaign that the Poles had a defense plan against a German invasion. It's just the Germans were too quick on cutting them off on certain places because they were supposed to retreat to the Vistula River.
Yes,
but the Germans got to the river before they could. So I can imagine in the game, if the Poles are able to get there to the Vistula River in time, they could then really hold up the Germans for quite a while.
And this is the one of Polish victory conditions, sudden death victory conditions. If Poland can defend the river lines, it's the stage 3 of Polish Plan West, which is included in the game. The Polish player will immediately win. And those will be cards like this. And I have it right there. It's gonna look like this.
Oh,
so but this topic is very, very, very big to talk about. I don't want to get too deep into this. There's a photo.
Kind of representing what we're talking about.
I said, when I start talking about one topic, we will finish this talk in 3 days.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. I mean,
this is kind of how you block off different regions and stuff, just using these cards. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Is this how you use the cards on the map to kind of block off different regions and
block off different regions? You mean? I'm not actually sure what you mean by this.
You talked about using cards and putting the cards on the map to block off Polish retreat and stuff on the map.
Oh yeah,
is that what this photo is representing here?
Like for the Russians, for instance,
there are going to be few types of cards, and what I meant before is this is only a prototype version, but I meant that those cards are Russian units that are going to invade.
Okay.
When the Soviet advance starts. So the other cards work in actually many different ways, because this might be also a little subversive, because cards in this game are not going to be used in the way most of the people might think, like for example in Donnerschlag. Those are not action cards. We will have many cards, and to put this as simple as I can, cards are also rules, but they are supposed to be used in the certain moment of the game. For example, we have really large rule set for Soviet invasion, but we don't have this in the rulebook. We have just this mentioned. And you have only cards. For example, we have a card Soviet number 1, and you do this, and you have some flavor text. And when this come up and the sequence of play, the night part of the sequence of play will ask you a question. Check this card and answer a question. If this happens, then you take another card and it might give you some rules. For example, Polish Defensive Plan West will have 3 sections. One section is, because one of Polish plan cheats will be Plan West. And when the Polish player gets this cheat will have 2 sides, the Plan West cheat and the normal army activation. If Polish player doesn't want to do the Plan West, he will lose morale. So kind of resource that it gives a Polish player freedom of choice. Polish player can start retreating to the rivers, but it will cost him morale. And
Mm.
morale might cause the Poland to surrender quicker. And on the Plan West card, you will have information. What does Plan West activation demands from you if you want to put it? For example, in the first stage on the border battle, the Polish player will need to have adjacency to German units. No retreating, no going back to the rivers. If the Polish player doesn't want to do this or can't do this, he will lose morale and will take the other side. The second section is, and there are flavor text everywhere are flavor texts and my designer notes to explain why is this portrayed and why does this work this way. And the second part is when this stage ends. So you don't have to read any of those cards. Those cards will come up to the play the moment they are pointed to go, and there will be at first the calendar deck, which actually will work as the time tracker, because the for example, Soviet invasion and actually the Allied Tsar offensive is going to be portrayed mostly on cards and will influence some parts of the game, like one German division will withdraw from Poland, a Polish player will get morale, but most of all, you will get a story of this. And the way it works, we have a calendar deck from September 1st up to historical October 6th, when the campaign ends. And on those cards, you will have some historical events and some flavor text. And for example, you will have range from the 3rd to the 6th September, when the Allies will declare war on the Germany. And from there, it will instruct you to put into the deck Soviet and Allied cards. Soviet 1, Soviet 1. And when you get to the date, for example, we have September 8, and you get, okay, I got a Soviet 1 card, then you will have instruction to put cards right there. And do the German player control, for example, Białystok? No. Does the German player cross Narew River? Yes. Okay. We go with the stage, put the card Soviet 2 on the date, for example, or 3 cards on the date, certain dates.
So this
and
is
it will influence the overall story of the game.
Okay,
So this is,
Greg, take a break. Take a breath.
I was just going to say, Greg, do you want to take a little break and get you something to drink? Because, wow, that's a lot of information.
You're right. You're a lot of stuff here. Let's let that filter down.
I understood it.
I know, and you're like a little kid in a sweet shop. He's like a little candy store. He's going, tell me more. And I'm enjoying it, but I just want the stuff to settle down. And then we'll do our stuff. And Nate, I bet if you've been on the ball, you might have some books that might be of...
No, I don't have any books. No,
right. Take a break for a minute, Greg, and just cool down. Fantastic. We're going to do some nonsense now for a few minutes, just to sort of break it up a bit. So, Nate, do you want to do your Nate notes?
Sure, absolutely. Well, so I don't actually have, unfortunately, don't actually have any books on specifically the Poland campaign, but I have books that have it in it. And kind of as a broader story of World War II. But I do have one book that does describe specifically, I can't remember if I showed this book or not, but Great Battles of World War II, that does actually have a specific chapter on the Battle of Westerplatte here. So, and it goes into pretty interesting detail of the battle, as well as I like that it shows an actual map of how the battle took place, which so I appreciate that. But when it comes to another book I wanted to show that I've really enjoyed, the author is one of the better historians out there on World War II. This guy named Dennis Showalter, book called Patton and Rommel, Men of War in the 20th Century. This is a great look at both personalities and how both of them conducted themselves in war. And Dennis Showalter always does a great job on any historical book that he writes on. He's a great historian, but I really enjoy this book in particular because if you ever seen the movie Patton from 1970,
yes.
I mean, the scene in North Africa when Patton's yelling about that he read Rommel's book is just it's incredible, and so those two have a great rivalry between one another, and so I thought I had seen a clip of it earlier, and I thought I'm going to pull out a book that I remember enjoying a lot. So yeah, I definitely recommend this book. Oh, yes, I have heard of that book, Case White.
Yes, very, very good.
Yes, I have not read it, but I have heard of that book. So that's it for Nate's notes.
If you haven't done so already, it would be great for me because I need all the help I can get. If you push and smash that like button for us, bang it push it and see if we can get at least 60 likes because we've got 60 odd people in the room, so that'd be wonderful. Jester, do you want to do? I always look forward to this because it's what Jester does. He's taking the top how many 100 games?
We're taking the top 500 war games and we're counting them down from 500 all the way back to number 1. So someday, Greg, your game is going to be in here.
Yeah,
I know it is. All right, I'm sharing.
Here we go. Let me do that.
So right now we're on 340, working our way down to 331 today. And you had mentioned this earlier, the Battalion Combat Series Brazen Chariots is number 340. So, yeah, it's a good one there. I really
isn't that BCS?
BCS. I would like to try it.
Yeah.
I know Greg has tried it. Nate, you haven't tried it, have you?
Nope, haven't tried it.
We need to get on it.
They're quite expensive, though, unfortunately.
It's a little pricey, yep.
Yeah,
that's the problem. All right, number 339 is Conflict of Heroes. This is the third edition. We saw the first edition a couple shows ago, but this is the third edition. Conflict of Heroes, Awakening of the Bear. I think I saw that on your shelf. Isn't that right, Greg? Do you have this one?
No, I used to have it, not anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Okay, I thought I saw it on your shelf, but maybe I was mistaken. Saw something else. It's a pretty good one though. I got to get this one. I know I got a message.
I forgot to mention it for you one, but there is somebody that contacted me, said they got the third edition if you want it.
Yeah, I think he contacted me. I think he was sent him to. So yeah,
right.
All right. Number 338 is GKR Heavy Hitters. I don't know anything about this one.
That?
I have no idea. It looks like a battling robots game. Looks cool as hell, but it's not a war game, boys.
Well,
number 337. Look at what we get to see again. Vijay Anagara. So this one keeps coming down. I think half of our guys keep voting it, and it keeps coming down with this. Number 336 is Under a Lily Banner, and that's part of the new system, the new game, right?
The musket and pipe system. Yeah, that's in the new dual pack, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Number, I did that one twice. Number 335 is Longstreet Attacks the Second Day at Gettysburg.
Blind Sword series.
Yeah. It's by a little designer, Herman Lutman. We don't know much about him.
Yeah, some there do well.
He keeps trying to come on our show, and we refuse to have him on.
That's all we hear. Herman Lutman, who?
Yeah. Number 334 is Russian Front.
Ooh, classic.
Oh, it's an oldie but goodie, they say.
1985.
Yeah.
Is that when you were born, Greg? 1985?
No.
You're just a young guy, though, right?
I hate these young, good-looking designers and hosts and things. It's it's
I'm just jealous of your hair, Greg.
I know.
I'm a post-Soviet child.
Ah, crikey! Right.
Number 333 is Star Trek Attack Wing, again a miniatures game with Star Treks. If you want to do like a tactical space battle, probably would be a great thing, but it's not a war game. Number 332, it's another game by Herman Loopman.
Who?
Yeah, that's a little schmuck of a designer. He keeps trying to. Yeah, Plum Island Horror, great game.
Yeah.
It's going up. It's probably going to go up with us as we go towards number one because sooner or later it will be number one.
Coming out for that?
Sorry?
Isn't there an expansion that's on P500 right now?
Oh yeah. Herman's. I've been in touch with Herman. Actually, he's a close personal friend. Greg, just so you know, we're just teasing. He's a close personal friend of ours.
Yeah.
So we just give him the Mickey. You know, it's like your brother. You give him a noogie. So I've been in touch with Herman. The design is pretty well done for the expansion. It's just a matter of them shipping it out to get it printed. So soon, my friends. 331 is going to be. Oops, I messed it up.
What are you doing? That's not very professional. What's going on?
What is happening?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Click that.
There we go. 331 is Phantom Leader by DVG. Have you played any of the Leader series, Greg? Do you like it? Have you played any of the Leader series?
Yes, there is a P17 leader.
Oh, good choice. Good choice, Greg. Good choice.
Is that your favorite one of the series?
Yeah, I think so. I used to play Sherman Leader, but eventually sold it.
Sold it. Did you hear that, Ruff? He sold a game. Isn't that illegal?
Well, to tell you what, I did for the first time ever sell a couple of games at PunchCon this year. So, you know, I understand. But there were games I weren't going to play again, or I duplicated.
Was it like partying with a child, Ruff?
For one, it was. For the other, it was a duplicate, so it wasn't too bad. So, you know. But yes, that's the only one I haven't. Well, say the only one. I haven't got that one. I've got a lot of them, and I enjoy them. But when you just want to play,
I just got this one, Greg. Have you tried this one, Spruance Leader?
No, not yet. It's kind of the newer ones.
That's
Yes.
another, that's another Dean. Dean. What's his surname?
Dean Essex.
No.
No.
Dan Verson?
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because
Dean Brown.
Dean Brown. Yeah, it's the same guy that did B-17 Leader.
Yeah, it's pretty involved. There's quite a bit to it. There's like this little grid. You're moving as your radar is picking units up and stuff. It's pretty involved. So
good grief, Koyi, you're older than I am.
And the wall came down and was 38. Woo! Well, it's good having you around. So all right, so that's mine. Ruff, what had happened today in history? I know there was one super important event, and I sure hope you didn't miss it today.
I probably did, because I'm very conscious of the fact that you keep going on about it's just all sort of English and European history. But,
sunny day in England?
Sorry?
Sunny day in England?
It's a humid, muggy day. Anyway. Don't you,
that's why they're all riding, because it's
he's been on the show 5 minutes and he's taken the Mickey out of poor Ruff.
Giving you the Mickey. Wow, he's learned well. Good job, Greg. Good job.
Fitting in excellently. Right, here we go. Let's. I've lost it now. Right,
you're ready for British History Month.
Here we go.
And
991. And I did scale the internet. 991 AD. I did scale the internet. There wasn't much American stuff going on at that time, so apologies. This is the Battle of Malden, which is about a half-hour drive from me in Essex. The Battle of Malden, the English were defeated by a band of inland raiding Vikings. After the battle, Archbishop Sigeric of Canterbury and Alderman advised King Ethelred to buy off the Vikings rather than continue the armed struggle. The result was a payment of 10,000 Roman pounds. What's that in kilograms, Nate?
A lot.
A lot, 3,000 kilograms of silver. And then nothing much happened until 1861 with you guys, American Civil War, Battle of Wilson's Creek, because it's the 10th of August we're doing, a mixed force of Confederate, Missouri State Guards, and you spell it Arkansas. Why isn't there a W on the end of it? Arkansas state troops defeat outnumbered attacking Union forces in the southwestern part.
Well, it's kind of like why is it that you get on Americans calling it Birmingham instead?
I know, because it's the wrong thing. It's like the silent P in Bath, isn't it? Really, I suppose. Have a think. Then we've got 1904, the Russo-Japanese War, the Battle of the Yellow Sea between the Russians and the Japanese battleship fleets takes place. This Russo-Japanese War was fought between, obviously, the Japanese Empire and the Russian Empire during 1904 and 1905 over rival imperial ambitions in Manchuria and the Korean Empire. The major theaters of military operations were in the Liaodong Peninsula and Mukden in southern Manchuria, the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan. It started because Russia sought a warm water port on the Pacific Ocean, both for its navy and for maritime trade. Vladivostok remained ice-free and operational only during the summer. Port Arthur, a naval base in Liaodong province, leased to Russia by the Qing dynasty of China from 1897, was operational year-round, and the Japanese didn't like it. So they had a war which lasted a year, and on this day in 1905, the Russo-Japanese War, peace negotiations begin in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, or as you say, New Hampshire.
No, we call it New Hampshire.
That's good. That's good. That's not so bad then. 1920, World War I, Ottoman Sultan Mehmed VI representatives signed the Treaty of Sèvres that divides up the Ottoman Empire between the Allies. This treaty, signed between the Allies of World War I and the Ottoman Empire, ceded large parts of the Ottoman territory to France, United Kingdom, Greece, and Italy, as well as creating large occupation zones within the Ottoman Empire. It was one of a series of treaties that the Central Powers signed with the Allied powers after their defeat in World War I, and some say this calls the start of all the unnecessary nonsense that is ending up with today's thing. Anyway, 1944, World War II, the Battle of Guam comes to an effective end, and 1944, World War II, the Battle of Narva ends with a defensive German victory. The Battle of Narva was a World War II military campaign lasting from the 2nd of February to today, 10th of August 44, in which the German Army Detachment Narva and the Soviet Leningrad Front fought for possession of the strategically important Narva Isthmus. And 1945, the Japanese government announced that a message had been sent to the Allies accepting the terms of the Potsdam Declaration, provided that it does not compromise any demand that prejudices the prerogatives of the emperor as a sovereign ruler.
Which I will say, just to interrupt you. So, because yesterday was the anniversary of the bombing of Nagasaki on August 9th, and then before was the bombing of Hiroshima. So, if you want to see a lot of people know that the B-29 that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima is in Washington, D.C., the Enola Gay to go see. Yeah. But the B-29 that dropped the bomb on Nagasaki is in Dayton, Ohio, at the United States Air Force Museum. It's called the Boxcar. And that's the plane that ended World War II. And it's there.
Hence, the next day they agreed to the Potsdam Declaration.
Enola Gay took a reconnaissance mission on the Nagasaki bombing, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
It was there taking evidence. Photographic evidence.
You're right.
Yep. And then 1961, Vietnam War, the U.S. Army begins Operation Ranch Hand, spraying an estimated 20 million U.S. gallons of defoliants and herbicides over rural areas of South Vietnam in an attempt to deprive the Viet Cong of food and vegetation cover. And you'll be pleased to know I couldn't find anything about aircraft for today. Lots of crashes. There's always lots of crashes on the days I look it up. And I don't like doing those. But no sort of first flights or anything like that.
I have no words. My mind is blown.
I know. I was gobbly smacked myself.
Oh my
I couldn't believe it. No aircraft pictures to show you. Anyway, that's what happened. A bit of a lean day. It depends what day it is on a Saturday. That depends what history you get. Because we don't do the day before the day
To give
after.
context for Greg. So Greg, usually whenever Ruff does his This Day in History, it's usually just British history and airplane history. So,
well, I do chuck in the other thing.
Tiny black and white, grainy images.
No.
And then if he does do American history, he can't pronounce American words.
No, because they're just spelled that. See, I thought you Americans like to say the words the way you spell them, the way you spell them, the way you say them. But no. What's with Arkansas? What's all that about?
You couldn't pronounce where the end of the Civil War was. Appomattox.
I can't. What sort of words that? Well, it sounds like a sort of mechanical engine.
I was just there last week.
Fire up the Appomattox. Fire it up. Yeah, no. I should have had a picture of it, but that was the day before. So, oh no, the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
a few days before. So I couldn't do that. Just trying to get if there's anything. Yeah, August 9th.
I looked you up on Board Game Geek, Greg. This is looks like your first design then.
I'm going to ask you that. Yeah.
Yes, first design
game now.
to be published. Yes.
So what motivated you to make? I know you're Polish, and yes, it's very dear to the Polish hearts. This thing in '39, it's just the thing. What made you say, okay, I'm not going to write a book, I'm not going to make a film, I'm going to make a game?
Mm-hmm.
What motivated you to do that?
Actually, it's very simple. I wasn't really fulfilled with the other Poland 1939 games, and the more I digged up and knew the history of Poland 1939, I wanted to experiment with some rules, like we talked before. There wasn't a certain date that I thought I woke up and said, okay, I'm making a Poland game. It emerged. It was like, okay, I'm going to try this. Ooh, I'm going to try a Dark Valley Poland game. Maybe. Let's go Dark Valley Gdynia. And it was experimenting with the craziest ideas and many game mechanics, and trying to make some scenario in other game mechanics. And someday it started to look like a solid design that can be a game of its own type. And this is how it was made. It emerged. It was never meant to be published. It was never meant to be a solid game. It was project.
It's funny. We've had several designers that said the same thing.
Yeah.
I started working on this project because I went to play games that covered this subject and I didn't like them, and I wanted something better. So I'm like, nobody else has made anything better. I'm not very happy. Maybe I should just spend some time and see if I can, mess around, and before they know it, they have a game. And they're like,
I mean, I think I'm right in saying that Keith Tracton, the designer of World at War 85, when he first started designing games, weren't to be published. They were just things that interest him to make a game. It was like a mental sort of puzzle to try and make a game. And look where we are now. Thank goodness you don't keep them in the closet. In a shoebox. You actually bring them out and then go around to game producers and say, what do you think? Otherwise, we wouldn't get all these games. But I've got to show this from Tim. Hold on.
yeah, that's a good one.
And I did get a
all three of us a Mickey there.
Yeah, I know, but it's all done with love. You know that. I think I forget who it was. Was it Christoph asking if Vuca are bringing out sort of series of games like their Archon and the Boog River and all that sort of thing? Is this going to turn into a series of games? I know it's a one-off subject, but the mechanics and things, is that going to turn into a series, do you think?
I hope so. I think so, and actually, I have a name for the system already, and I have already started some other projects in the system. Well, maybe I might foreshadow this. Well, with my friend and the playtester and the gamer Witold Janik, we would like to try on the same map, actually, Poland 1944 on the same subject. Right. Actually, we have almost working module for the Battle of Warsaw 1944, and then I want to make Greece 1931, but not Crete, not Crete, Greece and Yugoslavia, because this is almost as hopeless topic as the Poland 1939, and using those mechanics like the defensive plan, like how it all happened and why and what were decisions of Churchill, because Greece 1931 is the heart of the world at this moment. The Germans have to secure the Greece and the air bases and to make British run to start Barbarossa. There is Rommel coming in North Africa. There are many fierce battles on the Mediterranean, and the Greece, just like Poland, has the perspective that it's gonna be fine. We're gonna fight back Italians in Albania. Germans, we have Metaxas line and Yugoslavia, and actually this is a little like Polish thinking of 1939. And
don't worry, they'll come and help us. Don't you worry, they'll come and help us. Yeah.
They were already there, actually.
But, I know, and I think people. Well, I'm talking for me. I mean, I love games with the underdog, where you're trying to defeat an overwhelming force. Like you play the Poles, you want the Poles to win, you want the Greeks to win. So I think that would be great. And I know it's a bit off topic, but Paul says, if you designed a BCS game, what topic would it be?
Very good question.
That's gotcha.
That got me, and I was thinking about this. I had a little mind game with me, and I think it would be some of Eastern Front 1944-45. Well, there at first Greece.
There aren't many games. There aren't many games on that. So
no. Yeah. But if you think of some smaller offensives, like only the part of the bigger front, the Germans were on the run in 1944, but it doesn't mean there were no fierce and two sides battle. Like recently, very popular from Revolution games. No, sorry, Three Crown games, Stargard Solstice.
I know very little about it.
On my heart, I have not heard of this operation of this German attack in detail. I knew that was something there, but I never knew it was of this scope. And for example, there were many battles outside of Berlin in 1945, where actually Germans attacked and did some pockets. And this might be a quite interesting topic for the system like BCS, when you take the small part of the front and put it into some larger context. So I think.
Now, I will ask. Some people may, and I was one of them. I went and found the answer, but I'm curious for everyone else that's watching of where the name for this game, In Fours to Heaven, comes from.
Yeah.
I was expecting this question. I didn't expect it will pop this late.
No, because we thought you'd say the reason I called. Anyway, Greg, you've been asked. Let us know.
So, In Fours to Heaven is gonna be. It might be a long one. So, if you want me to stop, just say stop. So, In Fours to Heaven is actually a line from a poem about soldiers of Westerplatte. And the story of, in short, the story of this poem was written in 1939, right after those events, right after the campaign. And this is a symbol, because I think, at least from my generation, every child in Poland knows this poem. Like this line is very characteristic for this, and it's about Westerplatte and the Poland 1939. And this is a symbol. And my game is focusing very hard on symbols. Like we have Westerplatte, we have Oksywież battle, we have Hell battle, we have all of this influences morale, because I don't think any war before Second World War, any campaign before this campaign was actually broadcasted live in newspapers and on the radio. For example, to put this into perspective, and the recent Ukraine-Russian conflict, the Snake Island, yeah, it's a symbol. It didn't have much military
significant
matter, but it was significant for the morale of the nation. And there were legends of Snake Island. And at first, all defenders were supposed to be dead. Then it turned out they were not. The Westerplatte of 1939 is the Snake Island of 2022. It's a symbol, and those symbols are very important in this game, and those are parts of the victory conditions for both sides, because they were important. For, if you, as I said before, if you take some perspective, like, can Polish player win? Yes, but it's not a military win. It's not. It's not. We Polish player cannot win the war. He can win if you take the perspective of Polish staff. Did we achieve our plan? Did we fight enough to get on the history books as a nation that fought? This is the perspective of this game and the victory conditions. And the name In Fours to Heaven will turn your attention into, I hope, at least, of what this game is trying to be. So this is the first thing. The second thing, well, I hope, no offense to anyone in the world, but I didn't want to name this game Poland 1939 or Poland Defense, or something. I wanted to come up with something that will catch your attention. Like, what is that? Okay, I want to know, what is that? And and on the first page of the rulebook, you will have explanation of the name, which will guide you into victory conditions and why this name is tied with the whole concept of the game. And the question, does this game makes any sense? Like, isn't it a one-side conflict? Yes, but it's a matter of perspective.
Because you're not going to stop the war. You're not going to stop Germany or the Russians. You're not going to do that. Just a question of time. So yes, they're never going to win. In that way.
Is there going to be a Vassal module or tabletop simulator module for this game that people will be able to download and play through the scenarios?
Tabletop simulator is already there. But it's on the old graphics. I hope we will manage to put it on the new graphics. The Sun Tzu module is finished. Actually, is the whole game in this module. But I don't want. We actually with the Vuca Simulations team, we don't want to go online with it before it has finished components to all extent.
Yeah, that's generally normal. Yeah,
I'm just wondering if when the game's getting released, if you want to get together, we could go through a scenario, teach people how to play the game. Is there going to be a module available for us to do that? Yes. Okay.
So the short answer is yes. Vassal module. Some issues with this because I've never created a Vassal module and I really don't have time to give a thought to this. I will in the future. There are some people that will help me with this, and there will be a Vassal module in the time.
They tend to bring out a Vassal module. Vuca tend to bring out a Vassal module. Yeah. I'm just going to say we've got less than half an hour. Any questions for Greg? Put them in the chat. If you haven't smashed the like button, please, do that.
I got a question.
Hold on a minute. And I've now forgotten what I was going to say. Thanks. Anyway, yes, you can put the questions in the chat. We'll have a chat. Oh, yes. Somebody did ask about, is there a bibliography in the rules or the gameplay book or whatever, Greg?
Yes.
Great.
It will.
So we can look up some great books on it.
Before Russ puts some stupid question up, let me ask my important question. Okay.
Go ahead, Master Jester.
So, Greg, you've done a lot of research, I'm sure. You've looked at books, you've watched videos, you've done everything you can to get the history. If there's one thing about this conflict that you would like to, nobody knows about this one thing, you would like to call attention to it, what would that one thing be?
Mm-hmm. You mean more as a part of this game, or just in
general? It doesn't even have to be part of the game. Like if somebody, like one of my friends, says, "Hey, this game, I don't know anything about this," I can say, "Oh, this is where incident X, Y, and Z happened. You should check that out."
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have answer for this, and the answer is Tomaszów Lubelski battle from 18th September. This is completely. Well, maybe not completely.
You said it a little slower because I didn't hear
it. The answer is Tomaszów Lubelski battle,
oh my God,
which took place after September 18th, because many people see, of course, who are interested enough to read about this conflict, read about how Poland was attacked, how it lost in 2 weeks, how Soviets attacked from the West, period, over. Well, no, the biggest tank battle of the campaign and the most fierce combat was on the last part of the campaign. And there's one more interesting thing. I would need to check my bibliography to check where it was. But it was in some memories of some commander who said that the Battle of Tomaszów was the most intense and fierce battle of the whole war, even more fierce than on the Eastern Front. Why? Wow. Because when Soviets attacked, many German forces were behind the demarcation line. They were not on their territory. Yeah, so it was territory that was supposed to be given to Soviets anyway. So the soldiers didn't want to fight. And the campaign was still going for almost 4 weeks now, without any pause. It was tremendous task for German soldiers. So we think about how Polish defenders were beaten and stuff like this. But from the perspective of the common German soldier, it was really very, it was unhuman task to live through the hundreds of kilometers and 4 weeks of the first campaign for many of those soldiers, the first combat, to keep up the tempo of this attack. And when the Soviets advanced, the OKH gave the order to go back the demarcation line, and many units were already ordered to fall back to the line. Tanks were out of fuel. There were many mechanical problems because logistics were not prepared to go this far deep into Poland. And then, out of nowhere, because those two attacks were not properly reckoned by the German commanders, 2 Polish fronts of tens of divisions attacked German forces that thought that this is all over. They're going back home now. They will have a break. And the Battle of Tomaszów Lubelski lasted more than 7 days. Actually, 2 battles that were divided by the German forces. But this is something that is tend to be forgotten in the history of this conflict. And this was one of the largest battles of this campaign. And there are, I think, 3 scenarios that include this battle in this game. One big campaign, one with the context, and the second learning scenario is this battle. So this is one interesting catch, because the first learning scenario is the Kock battle, October 2nd. Second learning scenario is Tomaszów Lubelski, September 18th. So, well, I hope when someone who doesn't know this conflict or know that, okay, the Poland lost after 14 days, 2 weeks, and they're done, he opens the box and what? October? What?
Right.
What? 18th what? Tanks?
Yeah,
18th Polish tanks? 18th September? Say what? I hope this will catch the attention to look deeper into this conflict and know this and campaign as a whole.
I think I saw on the pictures that were on Board Game Geek, but I know someone asked a question earlier in the chat of, I'm assuming that there is the Polish armored trains that will be in the game as well.
Yes, missed that.
Yes.
Which those will be neat to play with.
Yes, but those trains will be very little significance, only as a DRM in battle.
I've got a question, and it's one of those things that has gone down into folklore with the invasion of Poland, is the cavalry and tanks, fact or fiction? I know I've got told off about this myself by Polish people.
Fiction.
Yeah, I've been told, you don't attack tanks on horses, so yeah.
Well, it happened, but it was completely by accident, and it was not the charge against that.
It was, oh dear, there's tanks, let's get out of here. Right.
And remember one important thing, the cavalry brigade was almost a kind of a infantry regiment, but those units had, for example, 80 guns. So when the cavalry brigade fought German panzer divisions, they didn't fight with saber on horses, they fought it with 80 guns.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would you say would be the however long that you've been designing this, that what sort of is the hardest part of designing this game? What's been the hardest part of the whole process for you?
To finish details, but in a way to present it to the publisher. If you know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah, I have the whole idea.
You don't give a game and go, what do you think? Bring it back when it's finished, Greg. That's what they'll say, isn't it? So you have to give them a finished, virtually finished product.
It is finished. No, it's not. Give me some tables. give me something I can put into my template.
Here's another question. Is Greg's interest in the World War II era, or would you consider designing other periods of Polish history? I tell you what, another Polish company you've probably heard of, Stratodramata. I've got a few of their games. They've not only done World War II, but they've done Polish history games, again, from the perspective of Poland. What about you? Do you reckon you'd do that?
Actually, I have almost ready Grunwald Battle of 1410, the block war game. Which I have no time. I have no time to finish, but the answer is yes.
Yes, you have other interests in other historical periods of
actually with this absolutely gorgeous map by Mark von Martial. Sorry if I pronounce this wrongly. With this gorgeous map, it just begs to make other projects just to use this map.
Sorry, you said Mark von Martial is the map designer, yeah? Yes. Great guy. Yeah, great designer. Great map designer. Yeah. Somebody says you're selling your game quite well.
Which is good.
Oh,
yeah, which is what we do. We want to promote people. We want to get people playing.
Just the idea of that it's not sort of the what you call like the traditional I go, you go, but rather it's chit pull. And it sounds like it's going to be really helpful, especially just as a solo gamer, because you don't know what's going to come out next.
Chit pull is great for that, isn't it?
And plus, when you said that
started to metagame those,
first, when you started saying that you were sort of taking ideas from like the Dark Valley or the Dark series, that's one of my favorite series. So I got excited when you mentioned that. Of course, it's different. You've added more things to it, it seems like. But that sort of concept of the chip pull is really, really exciting.
Well, it's worth mentioning that it is not entirely random cheat pool, because
Right.
there's initiative where, depending on, and this is actually why the Polish player wants to start his counteroffensive, to get the initiative and to get the first cheat of the game. Some cheats can be preserved and postponed, like some cheats you keep in your hand, so it's not going to be
Yes.
completely random.
I've come.
It's gonna be a
There's
little-
isn't the sort of chip pool ones, the American Civil War ones by Herman Luttman and others, where you can pick a chit and save it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's chits like that in the Dark Summer, where the Germans can react, and they have certain reaction chits that they can pull out whenever they want to. So there's that. Yeah, so that sounds really neat for your game then.
If you let me, I would like to also talk about just a few other uncommon ideas that I implied into this game.
Sure.
But I try to put it short. I mean, those are ideas that again are not inspired by any other game, and I may be even I might say that I've never heard, and maybe they never have been used in any war games. And one of those is because we have the time, we have the time of the day, and we have some cheats, and cheats are not equal for both sides. German player has actually more cheats, but with conflicting orders, he won't be able to play them all efficiently. But I had problem initially how to make German not run into Warsaw or to Vistula on the first day. So I came out with something that is called, I'm talking about this because this is a big part of this game, which is called the DFR, the daily foot range. Basically, it means that every foot unit, not mobile, only foot unit, has certain distance to march during the day. Every time the unit marches 1 hex, and whether it's a movement or advance after combat, and most crucially, retreat, the 1 point of DFR is lost. So for German units, because of various reasons, including amphetamine-like tablets, German units have, and this is actually real range of foot soldier, 40 kilometers per day. For most Polish units, 30 kilometers. Plus, there are going to be march losses, which made many losses for both sides on this campaign.
Was there a lot of attrition then, just marching with, in 1939? There was a lot of attrition.
A lot, especially on the Polish side, because many Polish sides were multinational, and the logistics. It's not only soldiers; it's logistics, and both sides had almost no trucks. Almost all units were on horses on this time, and so with the main body of your army, you will always have maximum historical results, because your army will never go farther than 40 kilometers.
There's a similar thing in Paris with the movement where you get.
I was just thinking that.
Yes.
It's a little different, but it's kind of.
I don't think there's anything new in mechanics. Is it? It's just tweaked. People bring stuff in. A lot of people are bringing stuff in from other types of games, not necessarily war games. Mechanics. No, Herman Luttman does this, and a few other designers bringing in stuff. Jerry White as well, bringing in stuff.
But his concept of soldiers are only able to move as far as they normally can in real life is actually rather new.
Yes, but it's tweaking.
It's similar.
It's kind of inspiration. It's kind of inspiration.
Yeah.
And this is interesting because when you have this limit, you think of, do I want to move my infantry in the morning or in the evening, or wait what happens, or wait for the mobile units? Moreover, what is crucial?
Ignore my ignorance. Do troops move better in the morning or the evening? No, I know. Are they more? Are they more or the afternoon? There must be a time when troops move better. You get people up first thing in the morning. They're going to go late at night. They're tired. I know it sounds a daft
The answer
question.
is never.
These things go
Never.
through my head. There is never a good time to march. To
Never.
Yeah,
Nobody
I know.
likes to go marching in the middle of the day. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But the most important thing about all of this is why I said that crucially in retreat you use your DFR is because when you don't have numerical advantage and you attack Polish perspective, you counter-attack soldiers, German divisions, and their divisions retreat, they lose their daily range. So for example, if in the morning the Polish units attacked and German units had to withdraw, they lost 2 hexes of their advance in this part of the front. And this puts into place the significance and any logic of Polish counterattacks. And this is one of the points that makes this game a little less one-sided, because counterattacks and the way when you plan your moves and when you move with your infantry units makes really interesting situations during the day, even in the scenario where you have 5 units, like the first scenario. You have interesting logistical puzzle to solve how to do this. The second concept is maybe I saw this somewhere, but it's not conscious, but it's the idea of losses, attacker losses. So here is and this is going to be actually component in the game. This is made by me. You will get a small CRT, cardboard CRT, that you will always be able to place where you want on the map. So to have it handy. And we will have a little combat template, which looks like this. So first, I don't know if you can see this.
Yep.
We have classical odds columns, almost classical battle results, but the most important one is right here on the top, lower than 1. In almost all war games, when you get odds 3-1, 4-1 and better, you have no risk of attacking. 4-1, okay, let's go, hurrah! In this game, if you go and almost all effects that influence battle are DRMs. There's only one that influences column shifts, and this is the army artillery. Actually, it's corps artillery, but for the sake of simplicity, it's called the army artillery. Because you can never go higher than 8 and lower than you can never go higher than 8, but if you go lower than 1, no matter the odds, attacker will take a loss. So if you attack with your panzer units, 2 panzer divisions against 1 platoon, if the Polish player, Polish player is in the good terrain and uses his support well, he might do the damage for the German panzer divisions. No matter what, you never attack blindly.
Right. You're taking into account recklessness of the attacker, overconfidence of the attacker.
Yes.
And the cleverness of the defender, taking advantage of them being reckless.
Yes.
Excellent.
And the terrain makes much more sense in this way. And in retreat results, you might take a loss. There's a difference between organized retreat and the panic retreat. And in this case, the hex behind the unit on the front is important, not the hex that the unit was defending. Because in panic retreat, if you're going to be slowed down by a defensive terrain like the forest, you're going to take another extra loss. Another thing, which is important is that this is a 1d6 roll with 2 dice. And we have a Gauss. What is the word for Gauss? We have Gauss with 1d6 roll. And actually, this is kind of a die roll that I'm using in all of the games that use 1d6 CRT. I love Gauss thing because it narrows down your you never have absolutely out of control randomness in a roll. But I don't like the CRTs that are too stretched too far, because you can never actually predict. You have problems with predicting what your
you want a more condensed thing going on.
I wanted to get them dense down. So the idea here is that you roll pair of dice in different colors, and when there is a 3 on 4 on any of them, this is the result, and the colored dice has the priority. So for example, white 4 and red 3 is the 3 result. If on none of them is no 3 or 4, then you get result from the colored dice, from the primary dice. This way, I don't know the exact odds and calculations, but the thing is, you get your results narrowed down to 3 and 4 always, and it works. Most of the results are 3 and 4, so it's tested. So this is why on this CRT 3 and 4 we have colored in red, and this is why we use the template, because when you go to the battle and you plan your battle, you put the template where you get the odds. For example, we attack on 4-1. So I get the most probable results are going to be DDR. And then based on this, and for example, we remove the DR arms, so we put this up to for the terrain, for example. And based on this prediction, which is not that really stretched, and it's going to be from 1 to 6, we've narrowed down to 3 to 4. With this prediction, you think logically about how do I need artillery, what DRMs do I need, how many of the DRMs do I need, and you can very consciously plan your battles with using your assets for defense or for attack. And then going back to the
hold on, Craig, we're gonna have to wind up in a minute. It's 2 hours coming up. I'm so sorry.
You did a really good job of talking for 2 hours.
Blooming heck. Yeah, we're always worried that they don't know what they're talking about.
This is great, though. This is
great. Yeah, and everybody in the chat seems to love your enthusiasm and knowledge.
You did a great job, Greg. This is probably your first time you've ever got interviewed or talked to anyone about your game. I mean,
and that's why you're so passionate and how it comes. No, don't knock it. It's great. It's great. But we've got to stop because it's coming up 2 hours.
Sure thing.
Before we go, though, just a quick thing. What are we up to this week, guys? Jester, what are you doing this week?
I'm gonna try and get Sprue and Slater on the table this week. I just picked it up, so I'm getting itchy to do that again. If you missed earlier, I have a copy of the Stalin's Triumph upgrade kit to get you. I believe this is to go to version 2, I believe. But anyways, check out your version. Let me know what version you're running. If you're looking for the updated cards and counters and maps and everything, let me know.
He made an impression, Greg.
Yeah, Greg is doing a great job. Thanks for coming, Greg. We do appreciate it so much. And like I said, and I'm serious, when the game's about ready to release, you want to get online, show people how to play it, let us know. We'd be more than happy to do that with you.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
We've done it before. And I think that's just to say that thanks, everyone. I'm up to what am I up to quickly?
What are you doing, Rob? Are you going to get a video this week?
Yes. I'm in the process of final editing for
Stalingrad Z, Jester.
No. I tell you what, they're bringing out one with cats in it.
Tide of Iron.
Anyway, Skies Above Britain, that should be out, but it's taken a while because lots of things are happening. You're taking a break. You're having a rest because you're fatigued. You're flying. Don't ask me anymore. So, and then Friday, I think
last guy to fly.
Yeah, I think Friday, me and Tony are playing some Great Battles of History. We're playing Devil's Horseman. So
really, wow,
yeah. But a GBOH. And thank you, everyone in the chat. We had 60 odd people, asking questions, enjoying Greg, enjoying meeting Greg for the first time, because they're all, Vuca has come up since I've known them from the beginning when they were called something else. Mm-hmm. I've known them. I've seen them rise up, and everybody that I've met loves a Vuca game. The quality is top notch. So your game will look beautiful, Greg, as you know, when it comes out. So thanks, everyone. We'll leave you to the rest of your day. And remember, if you haven't banged the old like button, please help give Ruff a little bit of help and hit that like button. That'd be wonderful. And as always, we love you all, and there's nothing you could do about it. All right, so think on about that.
Greg, stick around for a second, okay?
And
But
Greg, don't disappear once we go offline. We just want to thank you offline. So good night and enjoy the rest of the week. See you next week.